Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really diving into a situation that has significantly changed things in the Middle East. The escalating tensions between Israel and Iran.
Mm.
And this isn't just, another flare-up. Our sources are suggesting we're seeing a pretty fundamental shift.
Yeah, it feels different.
Exactly. Away from those proxy wars towards direct state-on-state confrontation. That's a huge red flag for global stability, something few maybe saw coming quite so fast.
Definitely caught people off guard.
So our mission here today is to try and unpack what really sparked this new phase, what's genuinely at stake, and where this incredibly volatile situation might be heading. We want to get beyond just the headlines for you.
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's just cut right to it. What was the immediate trigger? What really shifted this long-running animosity into such direct, intense confrontation?
Well, the immediate spark, the thing that really set this off was Iran's unprecedented drone and missile strike against Israel.
Unprecedented.
It really was. And it wasn't just symbolic. Sources suggest they launched, I think, over 300 drones and missiles, a very direct act.
And this was retaliation.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Iran stated it was retaliation for what it claimed was an Israeli airstrike on its consulate building in Damascus, Syria.
Yeah.
And that Damascus strike had reportedly killed several high-ranking Iranian officials. So this was Tehran feeling it needed to, reassert deterrence very publicly.
Right, and then Israel responded.
Israel did respond.
Yeah.
With its own targeted strikes. And that, of course, just ratcheted up the fear across the whole region.
You highlighted that word unprecedented. And I think that's key because, these tensions, Israel and Iran, they've simmered for decades. But this feels, profoundly different. What exactly makes this moment stand out from all the shadowboxing we've seen before?
I think the crucial difference is the directness.
Yeah.
And frankly, the scale of the engagement.
Yep.
Historically, like you said, it was a shadow war. The conflict was primarily fought through this complex web of proxies.
Right, like Hezbollah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hezbollah in Lebanon, that's a major one. But also various militias in Syria, in Iraq, even the Houthi rebels down in Yemen, and cyber warfare too. That was always a big front. But now we're seeing open, direct, state-on-state confrontation.
Yeah.
Moving out of the shadows, launching attacks directly across borders. That's a really profound shift.
Yeah.
It signals a new, much more dangerous phase. And it's certainly got the attention of global actors.
That shift is definitely alarming. And it raises the question, how is the international community reacting? These global powers, are they stepping in forcefully or is it more cautious?
Definitely involved, but yeah, cautious is probably the right word. Very calibrated.
Okay.
So the United States, for instance, has firmly restated its commitment to Israel's security. That's a cornerstone of their policy.
Sure, long-standing.
Right. But at the same time, Washington is actively urging restraint, pushing hard for everyone to step back, trying to prevent a wider regional war.
Makes sense.
And meanwhile, you've got other big players like Russia and China. They're also calling very publicly for de-escalation.
Why? What's their angle?
Well, they see any major instability in the Middle East as a direct threat. A threat to global energy markets, obviously, but also to their wider security interests. Nobody wants that kind of chaos.
Right. So thinking about Iran's actions, that big direct strike, what were they trying to achieve? Was it really a push for all-out war or more of a calculated message, maybe for audiences at home and abroad?
I think our sources suggest it was very much a strategic message, carefully calibrated.
Okay.
Iran's leadership, you have to remember, is under pressure. Significant pressure, actually, both domestically.
From their own people.
Yeah, the economy's tough, there's discontent, and also internationally. So striking back directly at Israel, even if many missiles were intercepted, it plays really well to the hardline base at home. It projects strength.
And to their allies.
Exactly. It sends a strong signal of solidarity and capability to regional allies, like Hezbollah, like the Houthis.
Yeah.
It shows Iran is willing to engage directly.
But not necessarily looking for a bigger war.
That's the crucial point. It seems neither Iran nor Israel is genuinely eager for a long, drawn-out, full-scale war. The cost would just be immense.
Politically, economically.
And militarily.
Yeah.
Just likely unsustainable for both sides.
Okay. Let's shift focus a bit. When we talk about conflict like this, the human cost is, it's always huge. What are the humanitarian implications? For civilians across the region, not just in Israel or Iran.
Oh, the humanitarian situation it's dire and getting worse.
How so?
Well, take Syria, for example. That initial consulate strike, it just added another layer of instability to a country already just devastated by years and years of civil war.
Yeah.
And for Israelis, the air raid sirens, seeing missile debris, it's caused widespread panic, real psychological distress. It disrupts everything.
And the risk of it spreading.
That's the biggest concern, the ripple effect. If this conflict keeps escalating, it could very easily ignite wider fighting in already fragile places like Lebanon, Gaza, maybe even the Gulf. And any broader conflict like that would hit civilians the hardest, triggering new displacement, making humanitarian needs even worse across a region that's already struggling.
So, looking ahead then, how do we get out of this? Are there paths to de-escalation? Or is it just this dangerous tightrope walk?
It really is a fragile balance right now.
Yeah.
Tightrope walk is a very good way to put it.
Is diplomacy happening?
It's almost certain that intense back-channel diplomacy is going on.
Through who?
Likely through the usual intermediaries. Countries like Oman, Qatar, maybe Turkey. They have histories of playing that role, bridging divides in the region.
Okay.
And fundamentally, both sides, despite all the tough talk, they understand that the cost of a full-scale regional war is just, it's too high.
Nobody really wants that outcome.
Exactly. Nobody wants to get dragged into a long conflict that could shatter their economies, their societies. But, and this is the big but, with emotions running so incredibly high right now, and the very real chance of miscalculation.
One wrong move.
One wrong move, one misread signal. The risk of unintended escalation is always there. It could spiral very quickly. It remains a very, very tense situation. And it really brings home that point, doesn't it? That nothing is ever really just local when it comes to crises in the Middle East.
Yeah, that resonates.
This whole Israel-Iran dynamic, it's not just about two countries. It automatically pulls in global powers. It hits global energy markets.
It affects millions of lives.
Millions of lives, far beyond their borders. This whole situation is just a powerful reminder of how interconnected global security really is.
So the international community needs to
Watch very closely and, more importantly, act wisely with real foresight.
That's an incredibly important thought to end on, that interconnectedness, how these regional tensions inevitably send ripples everywhere, touching all of us. Well, thank you for helping us unpack all of that today.
My pleasure.
And thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you'll keep exploring, keep staying informed on these critical global issues. Until next time, keep digging into the complexities of the world around you.